Anguttara Nikāya, the Numerical Discourses, Dukkha Nipāta, Book of the Twos, Suttas 32 to 41, Samacitta Vagga, the peaceful heart. Sutta number 32. Bhikkhus, I will speak to you about the internal atmosphere and overall functioning of the one declared the inferior and evil person. And I will speak to you about the internal atmosphere and overall functioning of the one declared the superior and good person. Now pay close attention to what I shall say by listening carefully. Yes, Bhante, the bhikkhus replied. And the Blessed One continued. And what is the internal atmosphere and overall functioning of the one considered the inferior and evil person? The inferior and evil person is an ingrate, lacking any sense of appreciation or thankfulness. This because being ungrateful and unthankful is the badge and signature of the inferior and evil man. Thus, whoever functions within the atmosphere of these two rotten qualities is oneself an inferior and evil person. And what is the internal atmosphere and overall functioning of the one considered the superior and good person? The superior and good person is full of gratitude, abounding with the sense of appreciation and thankfulness. This because being grateful and thankful is the badge and signature of the superior and good person. Thus, whoever functions within the atmosphere of these two uplifting qualities is oneself a superior and good person. Sutta number 33. Bhikkhus, I declare that there are these two persons, whom it is difficult to repay back for what they have done for you. And who are these two? It is one's own mother and father. Bhikkhus, even if you were to carry your father upon one shoulder and your mother upon the other shoulder, as you take care of them by rubbing their weak bodies, anoint them with various oils and soothing balms, bathe them and massage their limbs to relieve their aches and pains. And even if they were to defecate and urinate upon you while you carry them on your shoulders, and even if you were to have a long life of 100 years, where you continuously treat them with such dedication and tender loving care, I declare to you that you would still not have repaid them, still not returned the gratitude shown to you. Even if you were to offer your parents all the wealth in the world, making them supreme rulers of this whole wide world, completely decked with the 7 treasures, you would still not have repaid them, still not returned the gratitude they have shown to you. And what is the reason for this? It is, bhikkhus, for the reason that they have done much more for you. For they were the ones who fed and took care of you, when you could not even stand or walk or even feed yourself. They brought you up, and then showed you the world. However, bhikkhus, if and when your parents are lacking in their faith, and you put the effort to inspire them, encouraging and arousing faith in them, as you establish them firmly in it, if your parents are living without virtue, and you encourage and inspire them to become firmly established in virtuous conduct, and if your parents are stingy and stuck in miserliness, living with closed-handed attitude when it comes to sharing their possessions with those in need, and you encourage and inspire them to become generous, with open-handed liberality in sharing their possessions with those in need, and if your parents are lacking in wisdom, and you inspire, encourage, and establish them firmly in wisdom, then I declare that you, by doing these things, you would have truly done much for them indeed. So very much in repaying your gratitude to them for all that they have done for you and more. Sutta number 34. Once a certain Brahmin approached the Blessed One, who, after exchanging friendly greetings with him, sat down to one side and said, "What is it that the good Sir Gautama emphasizes in his teaching? What is it that he explains and elucidates?" Brahmin: "What I emphasize in my teaching is the importance of engaging in certain actions, and the abstention from engaging in certain other actions. This is what I explain and elucidate." And how does the good Sir Gautama differentiate between engaging in certain actions while abstaining from others? Brahmin: "I emphasize and explain the not engaging in behavior done by and involving the physical body, one's speech and communication, and those that are done through the mind. In other words, I emphasize and explain the not engaging in behavior that brings about the experiencing of evil and unskillful qualities in one's conduct. In contrast, Brahmin, I also emphasize the engagement in behavior done by and involving the physical body, one's speech and communication, and those that are done through the mind. In other words, I emphasize and explain the engagement in behavior that brings about the experiencing of good and skillful qualities in one's conduct. This, Brahmin, is how I differentiate between engaging in certain actions while abstaining from others." It is excellent, good Sir Gautama. It is marvelous, good Sir Gautama. The good Sir Gautama has clarified the Dhamma for me in many ways, as though he were to turn upright what had been turned upside down, revealing what was hidden, showing the way to one who was lost, holding up a lamp in the dark for those with eyesight to see. Bhante, I go to the Blessed One for refuge, and to the Dhamma and to the Sangha of bhikkhus. From this day forward, may the Blessed One remember me as a lay disciple who has taken refuge in him until the end of life. Sutta number 35. At one time, the householder Anathapindika came and approached the Blessed One, and after paying his respects by respectfully bowing to the teacher, he went and sat to one side and said, "Bhante, who in existence is truly worthy to receive gifts and offerings? To whom should those with faith be giving their gifts?" "There are in existence, householder, these two who are worthy to receive gifts from the faithful. These are the noble disciples in training, and those noble disciples who have completed their training. Therefore, householder, these are the ones who are worthy to receive gifts and offerings. These are the ones to whom all those with faith should be giving their gifts." Then the Blessed One spoke further, but this time in verse, while saying, "The noble disciple who's completed the training, and the noble disciple in training, are the ones truly worthy of gifts and offerings. They indeed are the ones to whom those who give their heartfelt gifts should give, for they are the ones who live with honesty and unerring character. Upright in actions they commit with their body, speech, and mind. It is therefore these beings who are the genuine field of merits to make one's sacrifices to, as they only are the ones those sacrifices made will bring the greatest of rewards." Sutta number 36. I have personally heard this. At one time, while the Blessed One was living at the monastery offered by Anathapindika in Jeta's Park, in Savatthi, the Venerable Sariputta was staying at the Pubba monastery, which was offered by Visakha, the mother of Megara, in Savatthi as well. It was then that the Venerable Sariputta addressed the bhikkhus by saying, "Friends, bhikkhus." "Yes, friend," those bhikkhus replied. And the Venerable Sariputta continued by saying, "I will teach you about the person fettered by internal shackles, and the person who is fettered by external shackles. Now pay close attention to what I shall say by listening carefully." "Yes, friend," the bhikkhus replied. And the Venerable Sariputta continued, "Now who is that person who is fettered by internal shackles? Here, friends, the bhikkhu is virtuous, living ethically while restrained according to the discipline code of the Patimokkha, and training in them, conducting himself in right behavior, while seeing the danger in the slightest fault. Thus, he lives virtuously while adhering to the code of discipline. Once his body breaks down after death, he is reborn with a certain company of devas. Then, once his time runs out there, he disappears from there and returns back here, where he is reborn as a human yet again. This person, bhikkhus, because he is a returner, he is considered the one being fettered by internal shackles, because he comes back and is reborn as a human being. And who is that person who is fettered by external shackles? Here, friends, the bhikkhu is virtuous, living ethically while restrained according to the discipline code of the Patimokkha, and training in them, conducting himself in right behavior, while seeing the danger in the slightest fault. Thus he lives virtuously while adhering to the code of discipline. During the course of his practice, this bhikkhu comes to attain to a certain level of the heart's release, and then remains in that peaceful state. Now, once the body of this bhikkhu breaks down, after death, he is reborn with a certain company of devas. Then, once his time runs out there, he disappears from there, but being a non-returner already, he does not come back here, for he is to never be reborn as a human ever again. As for this person, bhikkhus, because he is a non-returner, he is considered to be fettered by external shackles, because he does not come back to be reborn as a human being again. And who is another person who is fettered by external shackles? Here, friends, the bhikkhu is virtuous, living ethically while restrained according to the discipline code of the Patimokkha, and training in them, conducting himself in right behavior, while seeing the danger in the slightest fault. Thus, he lives virtuously while adhering to the code of discipline. Now, this bhikkhu is one who is continuously practicing to experience disenchantment and dispassion towards all sensual stimulations, as he strives to attain to their utter end and cessation. Similarly, he is continuously practicing to experience disenchantment and dispassion towards the desire for re-becoming, as he strives to attain to its utter end and cessation. Similarly, he is continuously practicing and striving to attain the utter end and cessation of craving itself. And he is continuously practicing and striving to attain the complete end and cessation of constant wanting itself. Now, once the body of this bhikkhu breaks down, after death, he is reborn with a certain company of devas. Then, once his time runs out there, he disappears from there, but being a non-returner already, he does not come back here, for he is to never be reborn a human ever again. As for this person, bhikkhus, because he is a non-returner as well, he is considered to be fettered by external shackles, because he does not come back to be reborn as a human being again. Meanwhile, numerous devas from the group of celestial beings, who share the same mind but inhabit different bodies, came and approached the Blessed One. Once they paid their respects by bowing to the teacher, they softly touched the ground with their feet, and while standing to one side, they addressed the Blessed One by saying, "At this very moment, Bhante, the Venerable Sariputta is at the Pubba monastery, teaching and explaining to the bhikkhus there about the person fettered by internal shackles, and the person who is fettered by external shackles. Those gathered there, listening to the Venerable Sariputta explaining, are quite excitedly delighted in hearing him speak. Perhaps it would be good, Bhante, if the Blessed One were to approach the Venerable Sariputta out of compassion." And the Blessed One accepted through his silence. Then, just like a strong and agile man who would quickly stretch out his bent arm or flex his outstretched arm, the Blessed One disappeared from Jeta's park and immediately reappeared before the Venerable Sariputta there at the Pubba monastery. Then the Blessed One sat on the seat that was prepared for him, where the Venerable Sariputta quickly began paying homage by bowing to his teacher, and then sat down to one side. And the Blessed One said, "Sariputta, just now numerous devas from the group of celestial beings who share the same mind but inhabit different bodies came and approached me. Once they paid their respects by bowing down to me, they softly touched the ground with their feet, and while standing to one side, they addressed me by saying, 'At this very moment, Bhante, the Venerable Sariputta is at the Pubba monastery, teaching and explaining to the bhikkhus there about the person fettered by internal shackles, and the person who is fettered by external shackles. Those gathered there listening to the Venerable Sariputta explaining are quite excitedly delighted in hearing him speak. Perhaps it would be good, Bhante, if the Blessed One were to approach the Venerable Sariputta out of compassion." Now, Sariputta, those devas presently stand together, as though fixed to the tip of a needle, clustered in groups of 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, and 70. But even though they are so tightly grouped and huddled together, they nevertheless do not impinge upon each other, nor hurt each other in any way, as they continue to stand. Sariputta, you may start to think that those devas have attained to their attainment of non-agitated serenity, and so dwell so peacefully close together, due to some method they learned or practiced in their celestial realm. But that would not be a correct assumption on your part. After all, Sariputta, they attained to that state right here, while they were still human beings in the past, whereby they trained themselves to stand together, as though fixed to the tip of a needle, clustered in groups of 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, and 70. But even though they are so tightly grouped and huddled together, they nevertheless do not impinge upon each other, nor hurt each other in any way, as they continue to stand. In this manner, Sariputta, you must practice and train yourselves. We will train also, so that we can attain to that peaceful serenity of our faculties, experience a harmoniously peaceful mind among each and every single one of us. Therefore, it is in this manner that you must train yourselves. And when, Sariputta, through your training, you are able to attain to that peaceful serenity of your faculties, experiencing harmoniously peaceful mind among each and every single one of you, then your bodily actions will also be serene and harmoniously peaceful. Your speech will also be serene and harmoniously peaceful, and your thoughts too will be serene and harmoniously peaceful towards each and every companion you have in the holy life. Therefore, it is in this way, Sariputta, that you must all train yourselves. I declare, Sariputta, that all those other practitioners who have gone forth following other religious paths and faiths are truly lost, for they have again missed such a great opportunity by not having listened to this Dhamma and its explanation. Sutta number 37. I have personally heard this. At one time, the Venerable Mahakachana was living in Varana on the bank of the Kadama lake. Then the Brahmin Aramadanda came and approached the Venerable Mahakachana, and after he exchanged friendly greetings with him, sat down to one side and asked the Venerable Mahakachana this question. Good Sir Kachana, what is the cause? What is the reason that Khattiya warriors keep arguing and fighting with other warriors? Brahmins also keep arguing and fighting with other Brahmins. And similarly with householder merchants, who keep arguing and fighting with other householder merchants. It is, Brahmin, because of the passions that exist in the heart towards sensual stimulation, because of being slaves to it, identified with it, obsessed with it, and blindly and obediently being subservient to sensual pleasures and being stimulated by them, that Khattiya warriors keep arguing and fighting with other warriors. Brahmins also keep arguing and fighting with other Brahmins, and similarly with householder merchants who keep arguing and fighting with other householder merchants. But, good Sir Kachana, how about the recluses, though? What is the cause? What is the reason that they too keep arguing and fighting with other recluses? It is, Brahmin, because of the passions that exist in the heart, drenched in wrong views, and in being slaves to them, identified with them, obsessed with them, and blindly and obediently being subservient to wrong views, that some recluses also keep arguing and fighting with other recluses. In that case, good Sir Kachana, could there be a person who is living in this world, who has destroyed and gone beyond such passions, by overcoming those debased tendencies of being a slave to wrong views, thus no longer identified with any wrong views, nor obsessed with them, neither blindly nor obediently being subservient to any wrong views? There is indeed, Brahmin, such a person. For there certainly is a person who is living in this world who has indeed transcended and gone beyond such passions, by overcoming those debased tendencies of being a slave to wrong views, thus no longer identified with any such things, nor obsessed with them, neither blindly nor obediently being subservient to any wrong views. Who is that person, O good Sir Kachana? Who might that person be, O good sir? Brahmin. In the eastern state there is a city called Savatthi, where lives the Blessed One, the Arahant, the supremely and perfectly self-awakened Buddha. It is he who has indeed destroyed all the passions of the heart, by completely overcoming wrong views and all debased tendencies of being a slave to wrong views. Thus, he no longer is identified with any wrong views, nor obsessed with them, neither blindly nor obediently being subservient to any wrong views. When this was said, the Brahmin Aramadanda got up from his seat, arranged his robe over one shoulder, and put his right knee on the ground, and by bringing his joint palms in the direction of the Blessed One, he 3 times made this heartfelt utterance. Homage to the Blessed One, the Arahant, the supremely and perfectly self-awakened one. Homage to the Blessed One, the Arahant, the supremely and perfectly self-awakened one. Homage to the Blessed One, the Arahant, the supremely and perfectly self-awakened one. Indeed, what a joy I feel in my heart! What an absolute delight to know that the Blessed One has truly destroyed all the passions of the heart by completely overcoming wrong views and all debased tendencies of being a slave to wrong views. Thus, no longer identified with any wrong views, nor obsessed with them, neither blindly nor obediently being subservient to any wrong views. It is excellent, Master Candana. It is marvelous, Master Candana. I feel as though Master Candana has turned upright what was overturned, revealing what was hidden, showing the correct path to someone who was lost, as though one were to bring a lamp into the darkness for all those with eyesight to see. Master Candana has made the Dhamma clear to me in many ways. I now go for refuge to the Blessed One, to the Dhamma, and to the Sangha of Bhikkhus. May Master Candana recognize me as a lay disciple who has taken refuge in the Blessed One from today until the end of life. Sutta number 38. Once, while the Venerable Candana was living at Gunda's park, the Brahmin Kandarayana approached, and after exchanging friendly greetings with the Venerable Candana, he sat to one side and said, "Good Sir Candana, I have heard the following report about you. The recluse Candana does not pay homage to, nor worships, nor respects elders. He does not offer a seat, nor stands out of respect, nor bows down to Brahmin elders, who are advanced in years, burdened by age, having come to the end of their lives. And now I see that this indeed is true. For the recluse Candana does not pay homage to, nor worships, nor respects Brahmin elders, as I see him not offering me a seat, nor standing out of respect, nor bowing down to Brahmin elders, who are advanced in years, burdened by age, having come to the end of their lives. Now, good Sir Candana, is this truly an appropriate behavior to show to an elder such as myself?" Brahmin: the Blessed One who knows and sees is the Arahant, the supremely and perfectly self-awakened Buddha. He has clearly shown who truly is an elder, as distinguished from the truly foolish, undeveloped, and juvenile person. Brahmin: even though someone may be biologically old and with age, as in 80, 90, or even 100 years advanced since birth, if, however, he still continues enjoying and being gratified by the pursuit of sensual stimulations and their pleasures, still delighting in being surrounded by them, possessing a heart full of passions for them, consumed by sensual thoughts, still feverish in his desire to go after and seek out more sensual stimulations, then he is identified as no more than a truly foolish, undeveloped, and juvenile person, and not much else. On the other hand, Brahmin, there might be someone who is biologically young and in the prime youth of his physical life, still quite young with dark black hair and not a gray hair in sight, and in his youthful first stage of life. Now, this younger person, albeit possessing far fewer years in age, if he does not continue enjoying nor being gratified by the pursuit of sensual stimulations and their pleasures, if he has given up delighting in being surrounded by them, with a heart that is empty of passions for them, no longer consumed by sensual thoughts, no more feverish and lacking the desire to go after and seek out more sensual stimulations, then he is identified as truly a wise elder, the one who truly deserves your respect indeed." When this was said, the Brahmin Candana got up from his seat, arranged his robe over one shoulder, and by approaching the Venerable Kachana, lowered his head, and with it touched the feet of the Venerable Kachana, and said, "Truly, good sirs, you indeed are the elders all right. For you are the ones who stand strong and wise on the side of maturity and deserving of respect. While we, on the other hand, the juvenile youngsters, stand on the side of immaturity, surely owing you our deepest respect." "It is excellent, Master Kachana. It is marvelous, Master Kachana. I feel as though Master Kachana has turned upright what was overturned, revealing what was hidden, showing the correct path to someone who was lost, as though one were to bring a lamp into the darkness for all those with eyesight to see. Master Kachana has made the Dhamma clear to me in many ways. I now go for refuge to the Blessed One, to the Dhamma and to the Sangha of bhikkhus. May Master Kachana recognize me as a lay disciple who has taken refuge in the Blessed One from today until the end of life." Sutta number 39. Bhikkhus, when thieves and robbers are strong and powerful, where kings and rulers become weak and powerless, then life itself becomes very difficult. One enters and exits regions and cities with much fear and worry, for the risk of danger is everywhere, even for basic requirements for life, such as going to work and obtaining one's own sustenance. In the same way, bhikkhus, when those evil and sneaky bhikkhus become the majority, living without any sila or virtue, meanwhile the good and virtuous bhikkhus become the minority, who, facing enormous difficulties, they either choose to quietly live the rest of their lives in the midst of the Sangha somewhere, or they will leave such surroundings and go somewhere far, away from the corruptions and distortions they witness being done by evil bhikkhus and their supporters to this true and beautiful Dhamma. Such times indeed, bhikkhus, will be to the detriment and harm of so many people and other beings, for it will lead to the ruin, suffering, and unhappiness of so many people, to both devas and humans combined. But when thieves and robbers are weak and powerless, where kings and rulers become strong and powerful, then life itself becomes very easy and enjoyable. One enters and exits regions and cities without any fear or worry, for the risk of danger is nowhere to be found, where people go about their lives with comfort and much ease, as they tend to their work and obtain their sustenance. In the same way, bhikkhus, when the good and honest bhikkhus become the majority, living virtuously with sila, meanwhile the evil and non-virtuous sneaky bhikkhus become the minority, then this last group of monks will either choose to quietly live in the midst of the Sangha somewhere, or they will leave such holy surroundings, disrobe, or go somewhere far, away from the upright and steadfast majority of bhikkhus and their supporters, who protect and live according to this true and beautiful Dhamma. Such times indeed, bhikkhus, will be for the enormous benefit and well-being of so many people and other beings, for it will lead to the protection, support, and happiness of so many people, to both devas and humans combined. Sutta number 40. Bhikkhus, wrong practice is wrong practice, no matter the person engaging in it is a layperson or a recluse who has gone forth. Therefore, there are no benefits at all to engage in wrong practice, which is why I never praise nor appreciate it. This, bhikkhus, is because wrong practice does not lead either the layperson nor the recluse who has gone forth to the successful completion of the training. It simply does not take you to whatever that is wholesome and good, because it itself is the wrong training, for it is, after all, based on unwholesome teachings. However, bhikkhus, right practice is the right practice, no matter the person engaging in it is a layperson or a recluse who has gone forth. Therefore, the benefits are countless for whoever it is that engages in the right practice, which is why I praise and appreciate it. This, bhikkhus, is because the right practice does lead both the layperson and the recluse who has gone forth to the successful completion of the training. It simply does take you to all that is wholesome and good, because it itself is the right training. For it is, after all, none other than the wholesome Dhamma. Sutta number 41. Bhikkhus, those bhikkhus who alter or remove all those discourses that are the true Dhamma, along with their real meanings, and replace them with fake and counterfeit discourses that they make up as they change the meaning of the Dhamma itself, are playing with the lives of so many people, negatively affecting their well-being in such harmful and damaging ways that are far-reaching and long-lasting. Such evil bhikkhus are working to the detriment of so many beings, taking away the happiness and well-being of both devas and humans combined. As a result, these bhikkhus are generating and will continue generating much bad merit-making and painful consequences for the harm they are causing, which is leading to the demise and disappearance of this good and beautiful Dhamma. But bhikkhus, those bhikkhus who uncover and highlight all those discourses that are the true Dhamma, along with their real meanings, as they bring attention to them, while also keeping all fake and counterfeit discourses out by exposing their flawed and evil impact, as they preserve the meaning of the Dhamma itself, are truly protecting the lives of so many people, positively enhancing their well-being in such helpful and supportive ways that are far-reaching and long-lasting. Such good bhikkhus are working for the betterment and welfare of so many beings, ensuring the path to happiness and well-being for both devas and humans combined. As a result, these bhikkhus are generating and will continue generating much good merit-making and lovely outcomes for the enormous benefit they are causing, which is preserving and maintaining the long and healthy life of this good and beautiful Dhamma. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.